What's going on, everybody? I know I just put a video out, but I got another piece of news for you. We have some Cleanspark news I want to talk about. I also want to show you something on Bitcoin's chart, so let's get started right up. If you guys didn't watch my last video, I'll leave it at the end screen. Check out the links down below if you're interested in any free stocks or cryptos. Let's get started on this Cleanspark news. So I was just looking at their investor relations tab. I'll leave it down below for you guys so you can keep an eye on it for their mining update. It should drop anytime now. But while I was waiting for that, I noticed we had this news here. Cleanspark executes 75 megawatts of power contracts and they complete an acquisition of a Bitcoin mining site in Wyoming. Let's check it out. I will leave this down below for you as well. But this initial 30 megawatt immersion cooled data center is expected to add over 2 exahash to their company's hash rate in 2024. This is the second fully immersion cooled site, and let's read up on this. The Cheyenne location is planned to operate as a fully immersion cooled site, becoming the second such facility in Cleanspark's growing portfolio. Groundbreaking is planned for an immediate start with Immersion XPs, the most powerful and efficient generation of Bitcoin mining machines that are currently available. Cleanspark's actively working to expand the available power at its site to further increase operational capacity. With the energy contracts now executed, Cleanspark is progressing on the close of the underlying real estate of a second site, which will bring an additional 45 megawatts online in Wyoming. And I have some things to say about Wyoming in a second here. This is expected to contribute to an additional 3 exahash to the company's hash rate. This is the third state in Cleanspark's owned and operated Bitcoin mining portfolio, now composed of 12 data centers in Georgia, 3 in Mississippi, 1 in Wyoming, and co-locations in both Tennessee and New York. The company also expects to continue building upon the existing operational hash rate in Tennessee upon completion of the pending acquisition of Grid infrastructure. You guys might remember the recent news about Grid and how Cleanspark is acquiring some sites that were owned by them. Cleanspark is continuing to work to grow its hash rate. They are making wise acquisitions. They're taking advantage of the fact that these Bitcoin miners are facing rewards being cut in half from the recent halving. They are taking advantage of the miner capitulation that we recently saw. Now, as said by the CEO, Zach Bradford, on the heels of the University of Wyoming announcing the launch of its Bitcoin Reserve Institute and Senator Loomis announcing the boosting innovation, technology, and competitiveness through optimized investment nationwide, or Bitcoin Act, God, try to say that 5 times fast. We're thrilled to expand in a state so publicly supportive of our industry. That's a big thing. I think that is a big deal that they are going into Wyoming, and Wyoming has such a pro-Bitcoin senator. We'll probably see some kinds of rules and regulations passed for the state of Wyoming in favor of Bitcoin miners, and Cleanspark would directly benefit from it. But continuing on, we're thrilled to expand in a state so publicly supportive of our industry. Working together with local, state, and national leaders, Cleanspark plans to grow its footprint throughout the beautiful state of Wyoming. I'm thrilled to see that Cleanspark continues to expand not just mining sites, but through different states. I think that's a big, important thing to do. Because, for instance, if you're facing a very harsh summer and all your mining portfolio is in Texas, it's definitely going to be a bit more difficult than if you have a diversified portfolio of miners through Georgia, Mississippi, Tennessee, New York, Wyoming now. I like that strategy, I really do. Now, I went over the chart in my last video, but basically it all depends on upcoming earnings. And so far what we've seen has been pretty good in terms of forward guidance. If earnings comes out bad, we are probably going to break our long-standing support at 14. If earnings comes out good, this is likely a false breakout on our long-term ascending support. And we go on to head higher, readjust our support, and see if it respects it down the road. Now, $15 has played out as support in the past. We'll see if it holds up here. I think we're going to kind of remain range bound while we approach earnings, and then we get our move after earnings in about a week or so. And obviously, Cleanspark depends greatly on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been pulling back as of recently. We have been in a downtrend over the last few days. But when you look over the last month or so, we have been in an uptrend. And when you look over the past few years, from the bear market lows of 15,000, Bitcoin has been in a beautiful uptrend, and the 4-year cycle is playing out like it always does. When you're in an overall bull market, you want to take advantage of when the RSI is oversold. The market is quicker to pick it up. Every time we've seen Bitcoin around this oversold range on the RSI, you do, on the short term, see a rally. Back here, we got towards oversold, and we quickly popped up. We saw higher prices. It didn't even get that oversold. The market is sometimes fast to pick up drops on an RSI when you're in a bull market. We did see oversold here, and we also saw a bullish divergence. I showed you guys that earlier. We will bounce. One, we're oversold on the RSI, which isn't enough to tell you that you're going to see a recovery, but also we're approaching a support on a channel that we have been respecting. And when you look at the daily chart, you'll see that we are hovering right over the 200 MA, and this just so happens to line up perfectly with our ascending support. Ignore the circles right now. The negative is we are breaking our 50 MA, and perhaps some incoming Mt. Gox creditor selling brings a little more fear. We see a little sell pressure. By the way, there's about $2 billion worth of Mt. Gox Bitcoin to give to creditors, so that is almost behind us now. But like I've said before, I highly doubt we are going to see a death cross on Bitcoin, and this golden cross will be the final golden cross this bull market cycle until we get a death cross, in my opinion, sometime in either late 2025 or 2026. But I do personally expect that the 50 MA will remain above the 200 MA. I do think the bottom is in here. I could of course be wrong, but think about this. Germany is done with the selling. Mt. Gox, the majority is in creditors' hands now. The fear surrounding that, the multi-billion dollars in market cap that we lost, over $9 billion worth of sell pressure potentially. I do think the market overreacted to that. If it wasn't for any of the Mt. Gox stuff going on, I do think Bitcoin would be past all-time highs now. Let me know what you guys think about that. I do think that is kind of a wrench in the gears this cycle so far, but that's not to say we don't have an insanely great rest of the year and 2025. But this is a positive, you know, people deserve their funds back, and I'm glad that people are getting their money back. The people that waited the longest, those long-term holders, if they do decide to sell, good for them. What I'm trying to say is this fear will be behind us. And what's the next fearful thing that'll be dragging Bitcoin down? I do suspect we're going to continue our ascending channel, and we will come up to test our resistance. And if we can break that 71, we are testing those all-time highs. It's a matter of getting up there. I do think we are going to follow this ascending channel though, and Bitcoin is due for a bounce. Thanks for watching, guys. What do you think about this Cleanspark news? Make sure you keep your eyes out for the mining update and be ready for earnings. It's supposed to be August 8th. Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.